All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today we're kind of, going off the beaten path a bit,
Ah,
looking at like those under the radar trends, the stuff that doesn't, make the front page, but could really like shake things up.
the subtle shifts.
Exactly, the ones that could like reshape whole industries, maybe even our own lives.
Love it.
So you brought some sources that fit that perfectly. We've got one here with like 10 business ideas you could start for under $500. And they're not your typical side hustle thing either. This is like next level gig economy stuff.
Interesting.
And then I've got this interview with an Airbnb expert. Claims the market's not dead, just evolving.
That's what they always say.
Right. But this guy lays out some pretty compelling arguments. So I'm curious to see what you think.
Let's dive in.
Let's do it. Let's start with those business ideas. I got to admit, some of them were kind of out there, like becoming an AI consultant. The source even mentions specific tools like Hypewriter for emails and Eider.ai for notes. But how does that even become a business?
Well, it's not about just using the tools, right? It's about understanding like the strategic side of AI.
Okay.
Like how to actually leverage it for a business, for their specific needs. Think of it this way. A doctor, might be amazing at medicine,
Right.
but they might not, have the time or even know how to figure out like which AI tools could help them streamline their practice.
Makes sense.
So that's where the AI consultant comes in, providing solutions tailored to their needs.
So it's like you're the bridge between like the crazy AI world and what businesses actually need.
Exactly.
Okay. And the source mentioned like some companies, like Mind Valley, are charging a fortune for AI boot camps,
Really?
up to $155,000. So there's definitely a market for this expertise.
Oh, yeah. Big time. I mean, that's a clear sign businesses, see the potential of AI, but they need help figuring it all out.
Totally. And then there's this Dr. Driver thing. Honestly, at first I thought it was a joke,
Uh-huh.
but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's interesting how it targets such a specific niche.
Right.
High earners, professionals who, like, their time is their most valuable asset.
And it's not like just driving them around. It's a whole like premium service.
You're not just getting from A to B, you're buying back time, hours in your day.
Right. It's like, don't just drive me. Manage my schedule, prep me for meetings, maybe even like pick up my dry cleaning.
Exactly. Delegation on steroids.
Yeah. And that kind of speaks to this whole trend of hyper-personalization.
Absolutely. Like, as our lives get busier and more demanding, we're willing to pay a premium for, stuff that saves us time and hassle.
100%. Okay, last one from this list. Optimized video editor for short-form content. So like everyone's editing videos these days, right?
True.
But this isn't just about making things like look pretty.
This is about strategy, understanding the goal of the content, using data, to make sure it actually has an impact.
So it's not about like going viral or getting likes. It's about leads, sales, actually moving the needle.
Exactly.
Okay, that's interesting. It seems like all these gig economy ideas are like shifting away from just doing tasks to providing real value.
It's a natural evolution. The gig economy is becoming less about just finding any old job and more about, packaging your skills, your knowledge into something that solves a problem for someone.
And that actually brings up a question for you, the listener. What valuable skills, or knowledge do you have? Think about the problems you're good at solving, the expertise you've developed. Who might pay for that?
It's a good exercise to, look beyond your current role and think about how your unique talents could meet those evolving demands of the market.
Exactly. All right, so we've seen how the gig economy is, kind of changing. But let's switch gears for a sec. Talk about Airbnb. Everyone's saying the market's dead, right?
Yeah, you hear that a lot. Too much competition, regulations.
Exactly. And I got to say, this hits close to home for me.
Oh,
I actually have an Airbnb property. And let's just say it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows lately.
I hear you.
So when this expert was like, nope, the market's not dead, just different, I was all ears.
Well, he's right about one thing. The easy money days, they're over.
For sure.
Market's matured, but that doesn't mean the opportunity's gone. Actually, this evolution, it's creating like new upsides.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, and savvy investors are they're picking up on that.
So what are they seeing that maybe the rest of us are missing?
Well, first off, like the market's stabilizing. That initial gold rush, that frenzy.
Yeah, it was crazy for a while.
It's cooled down. So now you've got less price volatility, more predictability.
Okay, so less of a roller coaster ride.
Exactly. Less speculation, more realistic expectations. gives a chance for the people who actually, understand the market to really do well.
That's good news for, someone like me who's actually trying to make this work long term.
And the expert, he specifically talks about this shift, right, away from urban markets towards vacation destinations.
Interesting.
So while cities are, cracking down with regulations, vacation spots, especially the ones that don't have a lot of hotels, they're still prime for short-term rentals.
Makes sense. People are always going to want to travel. And if you can offer them a unique place to stay, that's not a cookie-cutter hotel,
Right.
you're onto something.
But the key is understanding those little nuances of each market. What works in a busy city might not work in like a quiet beach town.
Yeah, you got to know your audience.
Exactly.
So, okay, how do we do that? How do we make sure we're, targeting the right people?
Well, the expert really hammered this point about optimization.
Yeah.
Everything from like the headlines and bullet points in your
Oh,
listing
right.
to being proactive about adjusting your pricing, based on demand.
Okay, that's where I think I've been messing up. I've been so focused on, making my listing sound all cozy and inviting
Uh-huh.
that I've totally neglected, the practical stuff, the stuff that actually gets people to book.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the in the aesthetics.
Cool.
But he had some great tips about that, like using bullet points to highlight those key features. Instead of writing these long paragraphs that no one's going to read.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like, who has time to read a novel when you're scrolling through listings? Just tell me what I need to know.
Exactly. And then the pricing thing. You can't just like set it and forget it.
Right?
Even if you're using those fancy dynamic pricing tools, you got to stay on top of it, see what's happening in the market, any special events, what are your competitors doing?
It's like playing the stock market, but with your property.
Learn it, yeah. You got to be engaged
Always adapting.
to maximize your returns.
And honestly, that applies to so much more than just Airbnb, right? Investing, your career, even just personal growth.
It's about recognizing that things are constantly changing. If you want to stay ahead, you got to change with them.
Got to ride the wave.
Exactly. And that brings us back to, what we've been talking about, the importance of digging deeper, questioning assumptions, looking for those underreported trends.
Because that's where the real opportunities are hiding.
In those little shifts, those seemingly insignificant details, that's where the seeds of disruption are planted.
So we've got these two separate things, right? The gig economy
Yeah.
becoming more specialized, and then Airbnb. Moving past that initial gold rush phase. But is there a connection here, a bigger picture we should be paying attention to? Especially for, us who value depth over hype.
I think, yeah, what we're seeing is a shift away from those mass market solutions
Okay.
towards something more niche, fragmented. It's not enough to just offer like a generic product or service anymore.
Interesting.
You really got to understand and cater to like very specific needs, desires, if you want to succeed.
That makes sense. I mean, think about how many choices we have now as consumers. Streaming services, food delivery, booking a vacation, it's overwhelming.
Right. And that's forcing businesses to get much more targeted.
So instead of trying to be everything to everyone.
They have to, find their lane.
Exactly. And that goes for individuals too. In the gig economy, the people who can carve out a niche for themselves.
Become the expert.
Yeah. They're the ones who are going to command those higher rates, build a real business.
It's true. It's not enough to be a jack of all trades anymore.
It's like master of one.
Right. Master of one, highly sought after by everyone.
Totally. And it's not just about, skills. It's about understanding your audience. Like you said with Airbnb, people who can identify a specific market.
Like families with kids.
Yeah, or digital nomads. And then they tailor their property, their marketing, everything to that specific group. They're the ones who are going to stand out.
Absolutely. It's a more like bespoke approach to everything.
Yeah, I like that. Bespoke. And that's where the real opportunity is.
And this ties into another trend we're seeing, the whole data and analytics thing.
Right.
In this world of niche markets and hyper-personalization, data is king. It allows businesses to gather insights, track trends, make smarter decisions.
So you can actually figure out what your customers want before they even know it themselves.
Kinda, yeah. It's a huge advantage.
No kidding. And we're seeing this everywhere now, right? Not just marketing, but healthcare, finance.
It's everywhere. Data is like the new gold.
Wow. So whether you're starting a business, investing, or just trying to stay ahead of the curve.
You got to understand these trends.
I've got to know what's coming.
The world is becoming more specialized, more personalized, and more data-driven. And if you can adapt to that, you'll be in good shape.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last thought. Remember that Dr. Driver idea?
Oh, yeah, haha.
Imagine that, but powered by AI. It integrates with your schedule, anticipates your needs, makes sure you're never late.
And imagine that same AI helping you find the perfect Airbnb, like it knows exactly what you're looking for.
That's the potential here when you combine these trends.
It's a future where technology and human ingenuity, they come together to create these hyper-personalized
It's
experiences.
like the ultimate bespoke experience.
Exactly. And that future, it's being shaped right now by the people who are willing to, look beyond the headlines, dig a little deeper, understand the forces that are actually driving change.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Hope it gave you some things to think about, maybe even spark some ideas of your own.
And keep exploring, keep learning, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time.